Yeah. This is that cool.
Pretty cool story. A friend of mine, the lady that handles all my insurance, she called me a while back and said, "Hey, I've got a Mustang if you want to buy it. Pretty cheap. It's a '67 coupe that was my brother-in-law's, and he's out in kind of East Texas." So I said, "Sure." So I went down there, brought the trailer, brought the money, bought it from him. And bought it. Thought it was a pretty good deal. I'll just clean it up a little and sell it. And so about a week after I bought it, my friend calls, the one that turned me onto the car, Erin, and she's the owner of Hanby Insurance out of Mesquite, and she handles all my insurance. Great gal to deal with. So anyway, she says, "Hey, we're thinking about having you build that car and keep it in the family," because her brother-in-law had it since high school, so it's kind of a, a little bit of a sentimental deal.
Cool.
Anyway, we work up a number, we start doing a little work on it, and it was just going to be a repaint, leave the old motor and 3-speed in it and stuff, and just get it going real cheap. Well, I stumbled across another car that had a bunch of really good donor parts that ended up being the Eleanor, so we basically took everything out of that car, running gear, AC, as much interior as we could use, and all that. So built her a whole new car out of it. So ended up basically doing a full restoration for her. So the cool part about it is the guy I bought it from doesn't have any idea that she bought it back. Unveil here in the next few days once we get this thing all ready to roll. He's going to show up thinking he's just going to look at it. He's even wanting to buy it back, and he has no idea that his brother and his I guess sister-in-law have already bought it and paid for the restoration. So it's going to be pretty cool. They're going to keep the car in the family. I guess Aaron will let him drive it some if he behaves himself. He's kind of a big fisher guy. I'm hoping I might be able to get some kind of fishing trip out of this deal if it all works out. He catches a lot of big bass on Lake Fork, and I like to bass fish. Just saying, Josh, if you get my drift on this deal, just let me know when's a good time. I'll show up with my fishing stuff. It drives good. We did a couple of upgrades. We did a power brake upgrade. It's got front discs on it, the regular Kelsey Hayes 4-piston stuff that Ford would have had in '67. If you had disc brakes, these are the correct front brakes. We did a power brake booster and master. We also did the Borgenson power steering kit, which I'm a huge fan of. It gets rid of all that factory ram that runs under the oil pan with the 4 hoses that leak all the time. I don't care who puts it on, it's going to leak. They're crap. So we put the Borgenson box on it, which basically replaces everything, more like a factory GM type setup with 2 hoses from the pump to the box. It's a really good upgrade. Fairly easy install, especially if the motor's out. You can do it with the motor in, but a lot more room with the motor out of the car, of course, like any of these. But just putting a few miles on it, trying to work the bugs out.
And the air conditioning sure is cold in this car.
Great.
What's the story on the system?
I think that's an old air kit. We're typically vintage air.
Let's see, 100 degrees up here.
Still got the factory heater box under the dash. So this would have been what back in the day. Let's say you bought a car and it didn't have air from the factory, which '67 I believe was the first year with factory air. '67 or '8. the dealer would have added this, so they would have left your heater controls and heater box, and then they just put this in, which is called a hang down unit, and put a supplemental compressor with a bracket and a supplemental condenser out front. So this is what all of your 66 or 65 Mustangs, if they had air, they had to have this, because they just didn't have AC back then. So this is a good upgrade.
Certainly wasn't common.
The problems we face in Texas is the temperature of these cars, and a lot of people with these older cars, they think, well, it needs to run 160 or 170, and I have almost never built a car or worked on a car that will do that in Texas, especially if you've got air conditioning. So you add air conditioning to your car, of course it puts more demand on your cooling system, because you're basically pulling hot air into the radiator from the condenser. So this car runs phenomenal. It's right dead center, so it's probably running right at 180 or 185, which is perfect. We like a 180 thermostat in everything we build, unless it's a computer car and they want a little bit more. A lot of people think, oh, lower's better, I'll put a 160 in it, and that's not the case, because what happens is it's so hot out, there's no way you're going to maintain 160. So basically the thermostat's always open, and if you go on a long trip, you end up with you know, the water just is flowing through there constantly. It never gets to stay trapped in the radiator for, you know, more than a second, and you just end up steadily rising your heat. So you need that thermostat to kind of be able to cycle. You need it to kind of close off or just barely be open enough where the flow throughout the system is consistent. But this car runs really cool. Oil pressure's good. All the gauges work. So Aaron, Josh, you're about to get a really cool car. This will be